Hey, what's up, everybody? Day 7 of the Covid Chronicles. Hanging in there. Trying to choose my words wisely. I didn't sleep too well last night. I think that no matter how much I complain, this darn stalking just continues. I mean, I'm a little bit congested still. I thought my symptoms would be over with by today. Excuse me, but as you can tell with COVID, you know, it's weird. It escalates and then it stops and starts again. So hopefully, I'll be asymptomatic soon. But last night, like I said, I had a headache from my neighbors. I told you guys about that situation with stalking. You think just because I'm sitting here talking and telling people about it, that these irritating hicks and whodunits would sit up here and, you know, recognize the fact that they're being called out. It's just so dumb. I really think that they're trying to come up with some new date rape drug that can be, and I don't want to scare women out there, but this is the truth, used through apartment walls, because I get so tired. I was already tired because of COVID. I'm already tired because COVID makes you fatigued. Well, when this hits, I'm just like, oh God, it feels kind of like smoke, like someone's smoking in their apartment. And it's happened across the street when I had a house too, so don't think they won't move in beside you. For those of you who say, well, just move. Well, I mean, obviously, eventually I'm going to have to move again. But it's one of those things where, I mean, people move six times, you know, at least in their lifetime. I want to move where I want to move, when I want to move. Not because of sexual harassment, not because of racism, not because of immature people who have internalized depression or some other problem with their mindset that I have to be held accountable for. You know, I don't mind telling you that it's been a while since I can clearly say I've met someone who has the type of intellect that I would like to sit down and have a conversation with to discuss this. You know, I like to discuss it with a lawyer and call it a day and be done with this pervert. I don't know who this little perv is. I don't know who, maybe it is a gang. I don't know. You know, you're talking to somebody who truly, honestly tries to be a nice person, but I don't associate with not everyone, especially not in areas such as this in North Carolina. It's just, you can't. Some people just don't have that type of capacity where they can actually have understandings of, it's not even an intellectual person, it's just someone who's different from them. They have to pretend. And you know, me, I'm just like, you know, violence towards someone is violence. It just stops and it starts for no reason. It's absolutely absurd. You know, I think there's a lot of things that are in the brew, like I said, in the mix as far as neocolonialism and the way black men have been for the past 10 years, especially, you know, we won't comment. They just have not been the best. You know, as far as white supremacy, that's always there lingering. So you have to realize we're looking at all of these factors. This isn't just a one-off. You know what I mean? This isn't a one-off type of thing. But you realize one system feeds into the other. And all of these things help white supremacy. All of these things help colonialism, neocolonialism, and violence towards black women. And really, people just don't give a damn about black women. You know, you could report it 20 million times and they still sit down here and act like they don't hear it. And it's fucking annoying to me. And you have to excuse my language. Like I said, I cannot stand simple-minded people that use violence towards other people. This stupid, you know, mimicry stuff, this following people, you know, pulling out of the parking lot at the same time as you, or the parking space, and when I'm at home, there's always someone coming around the corner when I'm pulling out. How does that happen at the exact same moment every single time? It's annoying. These are just nuisances, right? But when you actually escalate this fantasy into violence, physical violence, and you're like, I don't want to go to sleep at night because, you know, maybe they found a way to bring it to my home no matter where I live, that's a problem. This is problematic. This is words that I can't even describe. And on top of having COVID, I have to put up with this BS. That's just a lonely person or a lonely group of people. I don't care even if you're criminals. You're still lonely criminals. That's just sad. And after all this time, I'm sitting here telling you right to your face how disgusting you are, and you're still doing it. There's no excuse for it. You know, it's kind of like, for those of you who follow me on Twitter, I just posted a picture there because I don't like the way that Instagram cut that picture off, and it didn't show my face, you know, and I was just like, I don't know why it did that, but so I posted on Twitter. But for those of you who follow me on Twitter, you know, they're sending me those messages, like I said the other day, and they're still sending them. This is what I'm talking about, the type of stuff that makes no sense. And you're like, why, you know, why would somebody be stupid enough to keep just sending stuff? And I'm checking people who are following me, maybe they're sending it, you know, as a notification. I get other notifications, but this is every day from a different person on Twitter. So I know it's being purposely done. Maybe I'm added to someone's list, but I'm not following each person that's sending me the messages. So it's nerve-wracking. This is exactly like that situation. Like, where is this coming from, and for what reason? And what sense does it make for you to send me things like hot mommy, this, that, and the third? I mean, come on. You know, there comes a time when attention seeking is even too juvenile for a juvenile. I would expect for a teenager to have more sense than this. And I don't mean maybe. It's just that type of adolescent, I would say, fear of sexuality and fear of black women and fear of you know, all these things wrapped up into one. Single moms, you know, I don't know, whatever you have. Nice looking women, whatever your fear is, you know, skinny women, I don't know. And then you decide to attack someone with it. I haven't seen that type of transference in so freaking long. And the fact that some people are so good at it that it's undetectable. It's a high level of transference, but it's a low level of detection. That's psychotic. It is. And, you know, I would like to not have people talk about me for saying this way, but when I grew up, because I grew up very poor, and I will tell people I grew up very poor because where we come from, we are very honest. I don't care if it's Pharrell, I don't care if it's Missy Elliott, I don't care, Timberland, whoever, whatever. They're not going to sit down here and say, you know, the opposite of how they grew up, because that's the way we are, because we don't like fake people. Not a lot of us grew up rich. That doesn't have any impact upon who we are. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be who we're going to be, and it may be a better person than you. That's quite common where we come from. But when I was very little and very poor, there were people in certain areas that did act like that. Most of those areas are bad. The projects, or, you know, specifically areas where people who were black didn't get a lot of attention, didn't get a lot of difference. And that is an embarrassment for me, but internalized oppression always will be. There were some, you know, people who were of non-color. We go places and they'd act the same way. They'd internalize difference because, you know, they're insecure about themselves. But it's a new wave of this, and I don't believe that it's coming from nowhere. I don't believe that it's not being fed. I don't believe that, you know, it's just immature. I think there's something behind it, because it has to be. I don't believe it. Jess, do you have what you want to get, or you want me to go, or?
I should go. I'll be right back.
Okay. You want to take your brother? Do you want to go to the door?
Come on,
do you want to go, or stay?
Stay.
Okay. Yeah, I don't believe that it's being fed from a spring that's dry. This has been happening for a while, and they're just trying to pretend that it's undetectable. And I'm like, you know, you're looking at the expert here. Long before I had degrees, I grew up in areas where it taught us the hard knocks. And I can go from, you know, the richest to the poorest house, and I'm still going to be the same, because I understand how to carry myself with intellect in both spaces. And I don't think that people understand that. People want to stereotype you like you're this, you're that. You must be insecure about this, that, and the third. That's irritating. People placating that you have insecurities that you don't have based upon stereotype threats. That's silly. Because that's your own insecurity that you're projecting onto someone else. And in fact, I'm not even going to go into that Freudian sexual tension that you're creating, where it's actually because you're attracted to the other person. Now, generally that's going to be a male if it's a female. I mean, barring LGBTQIA, barring that community, but I'm just saying. But those who are other women who are doing it, I'm going to have to go internalized depression. I'm going to have to go with that. Or racism. Because there's no way. There's jealousy, and then there's stupidity. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. I'm so tired of saying this. I'm so tired. Excuse me. Still not asymptomatic. My nose is so stuffy. And the fact that I have allergy asthma is probably going to play into this more than anything else. So with me, my symptoms may be atypical because of a situation where I've had work done to try to give me air in my nose and my sinuses and things like that. Excuse me. So anyway, yeah, but it's just like, it is impossible for me to think somebody can be so stupid. They're just going to keep trying to pick. I mean, jealousy is one thing, but stupidity is something altogether different. I'm just like, forget it. I am tired. You can scream from the top of your lungs as a black woman that you're not insecure. I've not seen this in a very long time. It is like someone who is desperate. They try to pretend something and they just will not stop. It's not even, it's not even a childlike behavior, because you learn not to act like this by the time you get to high school. You may act like this just a little bit in high school and you realize it's not going to work, and then you'll stop. It's too petty. It's too simple. It's way too small for me. And I think that irritates me the most, because I hate when people disrespect me and pretend like I'm not as smart as I am. And I'm telling you what my pet peeve is right now. I hate that. I hate when people belittle me. I don't care if it's sexual harassment. I don't care if it's racism. I don't care if it's just, classism, elitism. I don't like that. I don't like stereotype threats. And that could be, because of my background. But it could be because I'm incredibly intelligent and I don't have an opportunity to express myself all the time. You know what I'm saying? So, judging a book by its cover, for me, my whole life has been kind of annoying. We're the only black kid in the class with primarily, because you're in honors classes in high school and junior high and even elementary school. I went to a school for gifted and talented kids, and I was the only African American person who went on the day we went, because we used to go to a special school on top of taking some accelerated classes. It was like one day a week that you get on a bus, take this long ride, right? Just like busing. Not a good thing now, but that's what they used to do. And then you'd go and have special projects and things like that, kind of like Odyssey of the Mind, for those of you guys who used to do that stuff, and just put together presentations, kind of like a STEM program, but also with some creativity to it, which would be STEAM now. But I was often the only black kid on that bus. Even in a school with primarily African American kids. There was a friend I had who went, but she was African American, and I went to high school with her as well, named Rosalind, but she didn't go on that day all the time. It's like Thursday or something, Wednesday or Thursday. So, I'm like literally the only black kid in that school. Literally, the whole school, 200 people. Now, the first time, and I don't know if I've told you guys this story, and I remember it, 5th grade, like it was clockwork. I'm sitting here, was it 5th or 6th grade? Maybe it was 6th. One of the teachers at the school comes up to me with this black kid, this guy, and she has her hand pulling him, and he's like, he doesn't want to go or whatever, and I'm working on some silly post-sport mess, because we had to do a project, and my mother wasn't the best at helping. She didn't respect the fact that I was smart. She just decided to, just like these people, try to pretend like, because she was jealous that, I don't know, I was her competition or something, and ignore her, because she's kind of petty like that. So I was like, well, I'll just take this poster board and do whatever. Embarrassing or not, you do what you do. So she brought this kid over, and he didn't want to talk to me, because he was kind of like, I don't know her. And I was like, turning around like, oh, like I didn't see him. And I said, hey, hi, whatever. He backed up. It's a black kid now. Now, back in the day, we didn't necessarily distinguish between black, Hispanic, and all that, but we know we have a large plethora of black people in our society. So, anyway, I was so embarrassed. That was the first time in my life. He kind of looked like Pharrell. I don't know who it may have been, or Miguel or something like that. And I just remember the look on his face. He was so terrified. Like, we don't know each other just because we're black. And for me, I didn't know who was more embarrassed, because I would never talk to a person that didn't know me, period, much less another person of color, just because we're black. But she, whether she intentionally did it or not, you know, whether it was just one of those things where she was using some type of bias, you know, and didn't realize it, maybe just a new kid and I was the closest one. I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to get this project done. They gave you select dates and stuff you had to get your work done by. And I was so embarrassed. I've never in my life, never spoken to anyone that didn't speak to me, unless I was trying to talk to that person for a specific reason and I knew what I was doing, and I took the risk of, okay, well, which is rare. I mean, that's maybe 1 or 2 times that has ever happened. You know, of course, as an adult, you know, if you're going to date, go through your things and relationships and things like that. But still, I don't, I definitely don't have internalized depression, but I knew what internalized depression was. Not from that incident, but I had already known what it was, but it was so bad. So throughout my life, I've never, ever, ever forgotten that incident. Never. And I don't forget, for obvious reasons, all the other things I've gone through. Does it make me want to feel self-conscious and compete with other black people, blame black people, compete with white people, try to fit in with them? All these internalized functions. Do I want to do all of that? No. I just want to be the best that I can be for me. Do I care if someone else perceives me as this, that, and the third? No. But what I do care about is if they're harassing me based upon what they know is a false perception. If they want to try to lure me to a level where I'm going to be what they have made up in their minds because they think they can manipulate a situation that I'm in. You know, the situation with my mother being the way she was, not having a father or much family. People will manipulate those things. Being a single mama. You know, these things people try to manipulate, whether they express to you or not that they're trying to do so. So that's important for me to make clear. I know when people are jealous and trying to manipulate. I'm not going to have low self-esteem because I have less money than someone else for obvious reasons. I've had people block my projects. You know, I don't want to use this term on Instagram, but you guys know the term cock blocker? Yeah, especially you younger kids, yeah. That's what it's like. You try to talk to someone and some female keeps getting in your way and you're like, oh, man, I wish this chick would just, you know, leave, you know. She is really getting on my nerves. She knew I was trying to talk to this. Yeah, that type of thing. And just wait and wait and wait and wait. I'll release the project, you know. I'll release the project next year. I'll just wait. You know, I'm getting tired of waiting it out. Meanwhile, people are taking advantage of the situation. I was actually watching a vlog the other day with 2 black gentlemen, and I would say I would respect them, but I don't believe everything that they say. And one of these gentlemen supposedly is a know-it-all about metaphysics and says, oh, well, if you have the knowledge, you know, you should use it now because other people are getting the same exact knowledge at the same exact time. So everybody's getting the same downloads, so you have to prove it. If you can't prove it, if you can't make it, I'm like, man, come on. Let me tell you the truth. It's a racist concept called survival of the fittest. These people are no brighter. They aren't necessarily any prettier because there's a lot of plastic surgery going on. They're not any faster. Maybe a little faster, but you have to understand the circumstances. They've had places where they've gone where people have helped them get past you, whether it be your family, whether it be, you know, because you get along when you first start out. Some people, whether it be your first job, someone gave you a break versus someone else, whether it be school, the school line sometimes does help you out depending upon where you go. And that's the biggest myth, because most jobs are found, I would say over 50% are found not because necessarily you have the college degree, but because of the connections that you have once you get your college degree. And that's the truth. So it sounds like a cop-out, right, for those who are out here working their butts off. But what black women in particular find out When African American women go for that same position, whether they have a doctorate and somebody has no degree or even a bachelor's degree, and especially in places where they're jealous of you, you're clearly overqualified for that position. They're not even going to look at you. If you go for something where you guys are commensurate with, what they're looking for, more than likely if there's a male, he's going to get the job. You may get the job, but it's going to be with difficulty. Things haven't changed all that much, and it's still very frustrating. So I see us as being doing all the work still, but getting none of the credit. And on top of that, having people try to jump on top of us, like literally, in order to attain some type of status when they feel like they have us in a position that's vulnerable. And that's frustrating for me. That's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's predatory. It's disgusting. So, like I said, I'm not going to talk forever. It's just, sometimes I get so frustrated because it's unbelievable how arrogant some people are. This is not about everyone has the same opportunity and you're just not getting yours. This isn't about everyone had your idea. No, many people tried to steal your idea and one person was able to do so because he had money. Don't ever be fooled by people who have those lights in front of them every day, who appear to have everything, because, they have their own problems too. And as far as you, if you know for sure that you have the creative ability and you're being blocked, they're blocking you for a reason. These things are not metaphysical in nature. These things are human in nature. Prejudice is human. Discrimination is human. And then wanting someone to not succeed because of jealousy, immaturity, or sexism, racism, any other isms, is completely human and can be completely controlled. One thing I told you guys the other day, I was watching Antoine Fuqua, and I was like, God, I hate this guy because he's so sexist. He's that one that did I can't even think of it now. The guy who was a rapist was in the lead role. He was doing the charge, and all I remember is commercial, and I'm just sitting here looking like, this is so fake. This is like the worst movie I've ever seen. But what gets these people places, right? Clout. And one thing that you have to understand, that misogyny exists in black communities. Come on now. Help me. Come on, somebody. I wish you black women would stop lying. You do twice the work. You do all the papers. You sit behind your desk. You teach your classes. You do all these concepts. You go out there and then you get ignored. Either you play ball or you get put out. And you end up right here in somebody's hood, being between two statuses, trying to prove yourself when you know that that's not right. And some of these black men will rob you blind and look the other way. And you know what I'm saying? Like, this is America. That's what that song was about. If you can get my drift. He was not sitting up there joking. We said, get your money, black man. He was doing all kinds of samboing and all kinds of stuff in that video. He was not joking. Just as he was not joking with Redbone. You know what I mean? That other song he did, and I just, Another thing I posted was about the light skin oppression, which we supposedly don't have because we are crazy or something. But in history, there's been a lot of rape, R-word, trigger. There's been a lot of sexual assault. There's been a lot of setting light-skinned women on fire in historical context, which people choose to ignore. That infuriates me. And it's because of that Freudian sexual attraction that people keep denying. It's very simplistic. Transference is very simplistic. So is regression. So are the other, are you talking?
Yeah.
What?
I can't breathe.
What?
I can't breathe no more.
Baby, you can breathe. You're always doing that. I'll turn the car on if you want. You're so selfish. Just look, because you're so phony. You get right up here when I'm online and they act like you're crazy. Move your hand. Here, I'll turn the air conditioning on. But yeah, you know what? It's a novice thing to do, but it's a common sense thing as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know when you're doing it, so why do it? Why try to get attention from people that aren't going to give you any attention. You're just going to keep trying to harass them. It's when it becomes physical, when it's just not in someone's mind anymore. That's when it becomes a ridiculous reality. Black women out here, just stay strong. That's all I'm saying. And it's not fair. People say they hate the strong black women, but what would you like for us to do? Play the game? I mean, we are strong. You can still be sensitive and be strong. You can still be a very sensitive woman. And I have many sensitivities, especially in my writings that I show. I think I show them more in my work than what I do when I speak. Because when I speak, it might be so direct that some people say, oh, she's like this or that. No, I'm a nice person. I just don't play games. And that to me is so, I don't know, so hard for some people to understand. I don't know why. People want to fantasize that you're this, that, or whatever. And I'm just like, aren't I presenting to you who I am every single day? Does it ever, ever, ever change? I don't know. I mean, jealousy is not going to change either. I say I don't change, but neither does jealousy or envy or, nonsensical violence for no reason. It's yeah. It's disturbing, you know what I mean? So anyway, I'm gonna go. I always point to Rosa Parks being a anti-rape activist, and how the biggest moment of her life was when she sat in front of the bus. But you understand what could have happened to Rosa Parks. They don't talk about it the way they should. The way they used to R-word women at that dark end of the street. That book by Danielle McGuire, if you guys haven't read it, it's called At the Dark End of the Street. And you know what I'm saying? You don't want that light to go out at that street corner, because you think racism was just about some lynching, some attacking black men and black women never got attacked. I'm not saying lynching and Emmett Till and all those things are not equally as important. I'm saying, though, they are equal. They are equal. That's what I'm saying. But you only do one side of it. And there's nobody to help us. There used to be a part of the NAACP that helped women, with this type of sexual violence. There isn't now. There's no one. And we really need someone to understand that just because you don't see it doesn't mean that we don't need it. Just because years ago we stood up against both sexual harassment and racism doesn't mean that it's not needed today. Because it'll just keep coming back in a circle, right? There'll just be someone else to try to, sorry, my bra strap is keep showing in this tank top I have on, but it's really warm today. There'll be someone there to try to take away your validation. There always will be. There's challenges everywhere, but in reality, in life, some of these challenges are placated when it's convenient for the person to use you. And you must understand, some of this internalized depression, some of this racism, some of this elitism isn't necessary. It's ridiculous. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not the type of person that lets people put me down. If I leave because I want to leave, whether it be school, work, what have you. And I don't like being pushed around and treated as if I don't have choice, or I'm someone's, I don't know, objectified other. Because I'm not anyone's wife. I'm not anyone's pet. And I'm definitely not someone that you can push into this way or that way. And this isn't against domestic violence victims. I'm not talking about you. But there's a distinct difference between you actually participating in an IPV or intimate partner violence relationship, meaning you guys are married or what have you, or you're dating, and you not knowing someone and projecting that insecurity onto that other person. There's a big difference between a man not being in your life and pretending to be in your life, because that's really sus. You know what I mean? Like, are you really going to go out there and find someone you don't know and pretend to be in a relationship with them and by stalking them? And that to you is not a form of psychotic behavior? Yeah, that's disturbing to me. When it gets to that point, then you're like, yeah, therapy. And I don't know. I can't tell what people say behind my back. I'm not in any way aware of people lying, because I don't know what lie they're telling. You're asking me to think about what a stupid person says, and I'm like, I don't know. They're stupid. But I mean, I've always said, if you ever have any concern, then you're more than welcome to come to me. But I don't like people who participate in competitions against women who are by themselves and try to project themselves onto people because of their insecurities. I don't like that. I don't like any of it for obvious reasons. Anyway, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit later. I got to go. Say I'm getting through this COVID thing. It's clearing up. It's taking its sweet time. Yes, I have heard that Biden even has COVID, but, you know, whatever. I think that this variant is very strong. I don't know what's in it. You know, spiritually, for those of us who are inclined, when it gets to that point where you're like, what is this, right? What is this? Is it coded towards our DNA? I mean, really, honestly, at this point, what is it? Because it's hard for some of us to get sick. It's got to be something really strong. So, we shall see. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys a little bit later. Hope you have a great day. I'm out. Bye.